So, this is like the 50th time that I've started this podcast episode because it has been so long since I last did one. Yeah, I just can't seem to get to grips with it. So today I have for you plenty of knitting and some plans and things in the works. This is how we're going to start this episode because I can't start it properly. Please bear with me. I am Vanessa, this is episode 36 and this is the Killtocraft podcast. Thank you for checking me out, and all new viewers, thank you for coming and I hope you enjoy the episode. And all returning viewers, hey guys, I'm back. It's been a while since I last recorded an episode. My internet kind of wasn't with us. We were swapping over services to a different provider, and our old provider cut us off on the day we were supposed to be getting our new package, and then found out that for the third time it'd been cancelled on us. So we spent 3 weeks without any internet. I am so thankful that I have like a 12 gigabyte data allowance on my phone, but even that wasn't enough to keep me happy in the land of podcasting and podcasts, because I think I was down to like 2 episodes a week watching while knitting, so it wasn't great. I immersed myself in watching episodes of Buffy for about 2 of those weeks, which was good and I enjoyed it. Anyway, less about that and more about the actual podcast and the episode ahead. So, I have recorded a special episode on PomFest recap, where I chatter about the things that we got up to, stuff that I bought, just PomFest in general. So I will be putting that up at some point soon. This episode is more going to be like a normal episode, but I will be sharing a few things that I actually missed sharing with you from my PomFest haul, but that's only because I'd actually packed them away, and yeah, my brain didn't click to get them out. So we have a Ravelry Group, which is the Killtocraft podcast, where we are currently hosting a Shorty Socks Cal. This was a spring-summer kind of knit-along, and I'm going to carry that on until the 15th of August. So if you are knitting any Shorty socks, please do come over and share your whips and your FOs with us. And you could be in with a chance to win a couple of really nice prizes. I think I've shown you these before, but we have a gorgeous bag from Leah of the All You Knitters Love podcast, and this is a Wild Handmade Etsy shop where she hand makes gorgeous knitting bags. I shared, possibly on the last episode, my cat bag, which I absolutely adore, because cats, guys, cat project bags, they're the best. And I have this gorgeous little package. This was a gift from Debs at Fondant Fibre at Spring Into Wool, and she got me to pick out a little gift for you guys. So this is To the Lighthouse colourway, and it's a little sock set with a sparkly mini for heels, toes and cuffs. So you could be in with a gorgeous chance of winning these. So please do come over and join in the Ravelry group. I am also toying with the idea of starting a brioche cal again. So the last time I hosted one was 2015, and it was a really successful knit along, which we did for 3 months, and I'm thinking about doing the same again. So starting from August the 15th, when the old cal closes, I will be opening threads for the new brioche knit along, which will be going on until the 15th of November. So please do start summoning up plans and ideas. I'm really excited about it because I really do love brioche, and I'm hoping that plenty of you will give it a go, and it's just fun, and you can play around with colours. There's different techniques. You can even try out something more elaborate with your brioche, so not just straight lines but actual patterns. Yeah, and there's plenty of knitting patterns out there now with brioche that you are not short of anything. Even Kristen of the Vulvine is bringing out a new pie shawl called the Oracle Shawl, and it is absolutely stunning. I've never knitted a pie shawl and I really want to because this pattern is gorgeous. So that could be one of your possibilities for the knit along. And Stephen West obviously hosts tons of patterns full of brioche. So yeah, you're definitely not short of things to knit. Anyway, group news over and done with. I'm going to start and chatter about some of my FOs because I'm not going to share many whips this episode. I have quite a few FOs to go through and hose, so finished objects and half objects. So the first one that I'll chatter about with you is that I finished my Wainthrope cardigan. So this might blow out the screen a little bit because it's black, but you can see the lace though, which is great. Probably a good reason I picked this background. This is a cardigan design by Andy Satterland, and I started this quite a long time ago as part of Katie of the Inside 23 did a Knitalong at the beginning of the year, and I cast it on, but I wasn't very I'd started it and I just couldn't get into picking it up. Sometimes you're a bit like that with projects, so it got put aside and I knew eventually I would get back to it, and I have, and it is now finished and lovely and fits like a dream. So this is knit out of Drops Lima in their black yarn. It is a wool alpaca blend and it's really warm and snuggly, so I don't know how long I'll be able to wear this for, to be honest, because it's not exactly cold in here. But I knitted this in a DK weight yarn, and technically the pattern is for a worsted weight yarn, so I did do a swatch and I did change my needle size to make sure that I got the nearest gauge I could possibly get, and that worked perfectly. The only thing was that I found in the fitting is that the sleeves were too tight at the bottom. So I think I omitted the last six stitches of decreases down my sleeve and just carried straight. And then because obviously that threw out the lace pattern that you have on the bottom of the sleeve, I just did the twisted rib. I didn't see that there would be any problem. It's just so that it fitted me better. As you can see that they stop here. And there's some straight. So yes, it kind of worked out better actually, because the length of the sleeve was really long for me. I finished one of the sleeves as pattern, tried it on, felt like it was too tight, and I actually had to omit 6 rows of the rib because it was already here on my hand. And I have quite average arms, so I was quite confused about that. Now, because there's negative ease in this cardigan, I'm not very big on when cardigans seem to gape open, like here, and they stretch open. I don't find that very flattering. So I decided to do a reinforced button band. There's only one problem that I found, and that's one area up here is, you can't really see, but it's slightly gaping open a little bit. Now, laid flat, this actually looked perfectly fine. Once I put the reinforced band on, it seems like there's too many stitches here. So I think in future I will make sure that there's no room for areas to be puckering and I would take out a few extra stitches here. It might just be where I place the actual reinforced buttonhole on the opposite side. Mind you, no, there seems to be plenty of space. I don't know. I think it's just that there's some extra fabric in there that could have been taken out stitch wise. Because I did do it in DK, I had a slightly smaller row tension, so I think it's only a couple of centimetres shorter, but I did take out a few centimetres worth of guard stitch in the bands, and I took out, I think, a stitch between each button, so that's 1, 2, 3. I took out 5 stitches, but maybe I could have done with taking out another one up here, or maybe even 2 out of each. But anyway, it fits perfectly and I'm very happy with it. And I've got these really gorgeous buttons that, if you can see, these have corn in them. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell. They have like corn actually in the resin. I think they're like resin buttons maybe, or in the plastic. But either way, they are very fancy, and they were in a vintage button box, and I found these and they're perfect and I love them, and it was perfect to go with the sweater because they're black but they've got a little bit of interesting detail and I liked that. So this is my Windlass, and it was a really lovely knit. It was the first time I'd ever done top-down construction, which is interesting, and I really enjoyed it. I would do it again, I think, because you kind of get all the fussy areas of the cardigan over and done with first, which is a bit like top-down, and then it was just plain sailing from there on out. The body of the cardigan does have side waist shaping, so they're actually done in the underarm section on both sides, which I really like. It's just overall a nice pattern, and once I got back into it, literally it flowed off the needles. I took this away for a weekend visiting my partner's family, and the whole top half of the cardigan to the armhole was done. And then while I was there that weekend, sorry, just trying to undo my button. While I was there that weekend, I got all the rest of the underneath of the armhole done and one of the sleeves. When I got back, I finished the other sleeve, and yeah, just generally really happy with it. And then this week, while I've been having, well, no, last weekend, I got some ribbon to reinforce the button bands with. This is the first time I've ever done buttonholes on my sewing machine, and oh my god, I love doing them. They are super fun. So this is to go with the yellow tartan skirt that I made at the beginning of the year with the black contrast bow on the back. So I decided to do the buttonholes in yellow to go with the tartan skirt because I thought that was cool. They didn't have any Petersham ribbon in black or any kind of suitable colour to go inside my cardigan, and I think they was going to, is it grosgrain? I can't remember how to pronounce it. Ribbon, and they didn't have that in the right colour either, so they found some of this kind of really sturdy black tape, ribbon tape, that's really thick, and it made for a perfect band. And I love my buttonholes. Look at them, they're brilliant. So I will certainly do this again, but I think I'll be a bit more aware of how my bands sit, because if you can see here, there's some slight bulges in the fabric, so maybe I could have done with taking out a few more stitches between each buttonhole. I have toyed with the idea of redoing it. I can't bring myself to do that, because it took me a while to sew the ribbon into place, and taking out another stitch may change the distance between my sewn bottom band with on the ribbon, and I don't want to toy with that decision, so I'm just going to leave this one as it is, but in future I will possibly know to check that before I actually fully sew on the band. I'd probably just sew the bottom and top, maybe pin it, fasten it together and see where it looks like before finalising it. But I'm glad to have that finished, and I've already worn it once this week because it's been quite cold. Some days it's been really rainy, so it's been a bit cool at work. Then my next finished object is my Windlass, which I wore at Pomfest. Sorry for the folds in the top. I've had it folded up. This is a pattern by Kiyomi Bergin, I think she's called, and I just used some stash cotton and some upcycle buttons off of an old cardigan, and it's worked out really lovely. Possibly one of my favourite summer garments. I will get tons of wear out of this with my jeans. Just overall a really pretty top. The front is slightly longer than the back, and it does have side openings, if you can see. And it's just really nice and comfortable and relaxed, and I really like it. The pattern was really nice. It's worked in pieces, and it's worked so it's bottom up. I have to say that the twisted ribbing is 10 centimetres on one side and 7.5 on the other. That is a bit of a slog. Luckily it's twisted more on one side than the other, so that's just a little bit of a curse to get through, but it is worth it because I love how twisted rib looks. So once I got through that, battled through that, I really enjoyed it. The other factor is I'm used to doing a lot of stocking stitch when it comes to socks, but not garments, so I was pushing myself to get through the stocking stitch on this, which I know seems silly, but I think because I do like interest in my garments, so I couldn't wait to get to this bit. So my patience was waning, but I knew once I got there I'd be really happy and excited to see the pattern growing. So yeah, I was really thrilled once I got there, but it was a bit of heartache before that. The other thing is, I think that I did a tension swatch, but I do think it's a little bit big around on my underarms, but I'm not too fussed. I think it fits really nicely other than that, and I will wear it plenty. Swatching is the key, by the way, especially with garments like this, because my stitch tension might be slightly out, and that's possibly to do with the fact that I had to change my size of my needles to get my row gauge for this pattern section, because this relies on a good row gauge really. So that threw out my stitch tension slightly, so I had to adjust my size. So I think that that's why I've got a little bit of extra room under here, but it's worth it and it looks perfect and I'm happy with it. And to be fair, t-shirts can have a little bit of extra room. That is not going to bother me at all. And I wore this at Pomfest and really loved wearing it. So I would recommend this top to anybody. So that is my Windlass. I would happily make another one of these in the future. I'll get tons of wear now next year, if not this year. The next project that I finished quite a while ago and couldn't share with you because it's been a secret test knit. Jessica of the Sweater Collective has been having a release each week of this month for a new collection that is based around using up your fabulous one skein sock yarns for other things other than socks. And that she's created patterns that will look great and will benefit from a fancy speckled variegated yarn. So I test knitted the socks for her, and these are toe up socks, and I used my skein of yarn from Sheep on Mars, which I got at Spring Into Wool, and these are them. I think the pattern is called the Easy Feet Socks, and it's a toe up design with this gorgeous pattern. Try and keep it still. You can see it's a bit like a tuck stitch, but it's really nice and really effective with the sock pattern. Oh, you can see it better on the leg, in fact. And I love the texture of these. And then it goes into like a twisted rib cuff, which I love. It's got an eye of partridge heel, which is quite fluffy because I've worn these in some boots already, so I do apologise. And my skein of yarn, I actually split into two skeins, two balls, two cakes, and one of the socks has come out more blue and the other one's come out more pink. You just love that. So this is my pink sock. It's come out fab. And then my blue sock. But I really love this yarn. I really love knitting it. The colour is amazing. And if you don't feel like you've got a good colour representation from this, you can see it actually on my Instagram. And I need to post an updated photo of the actual pattern itself on my Instagram to share these. But I absolutely love them. I would say that the heel has felted up quite a bit to some of my other sock yarns, but it's reinforced at least because it's a eye of partridge heel, and I do love them. I can't wait to wear them. I had a little bit of farce with my casting off on my leg because I don't do a lot of toe up socks. I mainly do cuff down. So that was a bit frustrating. In the end, I decided not to cast off as I normally would, and I usually just do a standard cast off. It works for me every time, normally. And this time I decided to try doing a tubular bind off to go into my 1x1 twisted rib so it looked fancy. Sewing a tubular bind off is actually really tight, whereas my knitted tubular cast on isn't, so that was annoying, so I pulled that back out. I then decided to try the Judy's stretchy bind off, and that was too stretchy. In the end I cast it off as normal and they fit perfect, and I should have just have done that anyway. My own fault. But I really love the pattern. Jessica's done a really great job of this collection, and of course we want more reasons to use our sock yarns because we all hoard them. So these are perfect. Loved knitting those. I've got a couple of hose as well. So I've been working on, I might have shared these before, but I'm working on the Festooned Socks, which are in the latest issue of Pom Pom Quarterly, in their anniversary issue. This is a pattern by Rachel Coopy, and I'm using her Coop Knits and it's actually in the photographed colourway, which is the Kunzite colourway, and it's like a lovely heathered purpley grey, lilac-y grey, but it has like little tiny hints of peach in it, which is gorgeous. So I got one of those finished. I was hoping to get some more done on the second one while I was travelling down to Pomfest and back from Pomfest, but was very much tired on the way back from Pomfest that I didn't get any knitting done, and I partially slept on the train. On the way down, I was distracted by a really pleasant lady who was just a scarf knitter who decided to talk to me about knitting. So didn't get any sock knitting done there. Barely got any knitting done over the Pomfest weekend. I think the only time I got a bit of knitting done was mainly a little bit at the B&B when I first arrived, and then a little bit through the Pomfest live on the evening. My second hoe is finally one of my brioche socks, which again is knitted in Ching fibre in the Berry Milkshake colourway, and this is a pattern by Lavanya Patricella, and it's the brioche thigh-high topped socks. Now, I had issues with these and had to drop them. I had to drop them out way back, take out some increases that were too many, and restart them again from around about down here. And I got up to here, and then this bit was taking quite a long time because there's about 44 repeats of brioche. It took a long time. And then when I got there, even though it fit too, I knew it was just going to drop down. This was just way heavy, and there was nothing here stopping this from dropping. In the end, I decided that I wanted to adapt it because it was going to drive me a little bit crazy. So I decided to add some just general 1x1 rib at the top, which is tighter than the brioche, and it does actually keep the leg up better than it would have done if it was on its own. So I've made a slight, like they didn't take long enough, I then added on some extra length to the pattern. But if it does the job, I will be happy because I'll get to wear these this winter. I'll be able to snuggle. I don't think though that I'll be wearing them much out of the house. I think these are more going to be cosy indoor kind of socks, but we'll see, Depends how cold it gets. Maybe they'll stay up if I have tights under them as well, a little bit more, because tights help them grip to your leg. So I might wear these with tights in the winter. So I'm really happy that I got one done. I'm saving the other, because I have got the remainder of my brioche to do on my second sock. I'm going to wait till we go to a car show in August, and we camp for the weekend. I'll be able to take this for travel knitting and also for knitting over the weekend, and I'll probably get a good majority of the brioche done. So I'm saving that for then, and then I casted those on for in January, beginning of January. It was for the Little Bobbins Christmas Eve cast on to start with, and then it ended up being a New Year's Eve cast on. So I've had those on the needles now for about six months. I'm ready to have those done with. Then I have a whip to share with you, and I'm sharing this because this has been my main project over the past few weeks, and it is in my newest and most beautiful pink Hazel bag that I got from Pomfest, and I absolutely love this bag. It is amazing. I love how sturdy it is, I love the handle, I love the pink cord. The inside of this bag is also just as amazing. look at the bright red fabric with the polka dots and the lovely pocket. I just love this bag, and it is a brilliant size. This was £44 from Pink Hazel, and I worked out recently that I think in America that is pretty much how much a field bag costs. For us it costs about £60–65 for a field bag, so this was considerably cheaper and just beautiful. And I couldn't resist it when I saw it at PomFest, and I had gone to PomFest with the aim to get one of these bags, so that was the first stand that I hit up while I was there. What I am knitting from my Pink Hazel project bag is the Flyaway Twist Shawl by Vera Valimaki, and this is mainly a garter stitch and brioche shawl with a garter stitch short road edging, and I cast this on at PomFest at the B&B whilst I was actually with Vera, which was really cool. And I am using my 2 skeins that I won from Cosmic Strings. I won around the Edinburgh Yarn Festival weekend. I had not been to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but I did join in a giveaway and I won these 2 fabulous skeins, and I love the colours because these are totally my wintry kind of colours. I love purples and I love burgundies, and they're just amazing. Really nice and soft yarns as well. One of them is their sock base and one is their just standard merino base, but I think the sock base is actually slightly softer, I feel. So this is how far I have gotten. So this is the garter stitch section, which I've used the main colour as the variegated colour, and it is amazing. And then it goes into the brioche. This is the wrong side because this has the contrast aubergine colour, and this is the colour Tranquility, by the way, if you're interested. That's a good colour representation of it. So this is Tranquility and this is aubergine, and if I turn it around, this is supposed to be the main side, and it is just fab. I can't wait to have this finished. I have another, I'm on the last repeat of brioche. There's like 6 or 7 rows, 7 I think, no, maybe 6 rows to the brioche repeat. 6 sounds right in my head, but now I'm thinking it's not. 1 second. No, it's 7. just doesn't seem right. Anyway, I'm nearly finished with the brioche section, which means I'll have a gorgeous garter stitch edge to sew on down here, to knit along. And I think, if I'm correct, you break your yarns and you have to pick up along this edge. So it's got to be lovely and wide. I can't even, yeah, it's just going to be really hugely wide because it's already bunched up on this side a bit. I can't wait. It's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be big, well, wide and long, and it's going to be so nice to wear. I'm really looking forward to this because this is probably my most wearable shawl, and I love the fact that it's got brioche in. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So that's my project that I'm knitting on at the minute, and I am absolutely loving it. And it's a very special shawl because I started it around my other good friends at PomFest, like Amy and Nikki and Nathan and Terry, and I think, is it Cara? Cara? I think it's Cara. Terry's friend. I knitted it with them at PomFest Live. so it has special memories. I'll go on to the other few things that I purchased and were gifted at PomFest. So I'll go through the ones that I purchased that I forgot to show you on the other video. But I'd been to the Merchant and Mill stand and I was very tempted to get a little kit made up for one of these, but they had their bags actually and some of their garments on a rail for you to look at, and I decided I really wanted the rucksacks. They were gorgeous. I'm very much a rucksack kind of girl, although I am thinking I might buy the shoulder bag at some point, but there is a shoulder bag version in this which is great, so I love the fact it's kind of satchel-y, and I will definitely be making this. They had like a mustard version and possibly like a toffee brown version. Either way, I fell in love. I wanted, when I was younger, to be able to make my own bag, and this just will be awesome because I have a bit of a bag problem. I love bags, and that's why I don't buy bags, because I love them so much. I could buy so many bags, but I have nowhere to put them. But now I can make my bags, which is probably just as bad of a problem as buying. Anyway, I really love this pattern, so I picked this up, and I got reassured that on the website they sell all the hardware products that I need for this, like the leather straps and the buckles and even the fabric, so I can go online and treat myself at some point to all of those bits for my rucksack. So I'm super happy. So thank you very much, Merchant and Mills. I'm looking forward to trying out your patterns in the future. Got really excited that there was a sewing stand at the knitting show at PomFest, because it's a little bit different, something different for me to buy. The other thing that I picked up was a Ching Fibre Twisted Finch collaboration sock blank. Now, Nathan kindly mentioned that he'd dyed this. He did the sock blanks, and I was really chuffed by that because it meant that I had something that Nathan had dyed, because I've already got some Ching Fibre from Layla. So I was really thrilled to have something that Nathan had made, and this is just beautiful. It reminds me very much of an oil spill or a galaxy. It is just fabulous and amazing, and I can't wait to see how some socks or something fancy will knit up in this. I did get it out at the show and I was like, could just wear it, couldn't you? Really? Just wear it as a fancy scarf if you wanted. Anyway, enough of me being silly. So, I really love this, and it was a little bit of a treat. It was probably a little bit more than I'd have paid for a normal sock blank, but this was a special collaboration sock blank, and they were there in front of me, and I really liked this, and I'd seen it also on Instagram and took a fancy to it and knew it was going to be there. And after looking around a few times, I was like, nah, I'm going to have to take one of those home. So I treated myself to the sock blank, and I didn't realise that I'd not showed it until I got my stash out the other day, because I remembered I'd put it away. So that's why I needed to share it with you today. It is also a silky merino yarn, so it's, I like the fact that they called it a blanket. So it's 80% superwash merino and 20% silk, and it's 425 metres to the 100 grams. And it's absolutely stunning. So I'm very excited to use that. I hoard sock blanks though, so I need to get out of the habit of doing that. Whilst I was at PomFest on the first day, I met a few lovely people. Leah of Wild Handmade and of the All You Knitters Love podcast. We have been good friends now for about online friends for a good 3 years, and obviously have never met, so that was really exciting, and we decided to do a little mini swap for our blankets. But Leah also sent me an extra treat because she knew that I wanted to knit with the flamingo legs colourway, and she had about just over half a skein of the flamingo legs colourway left over from her socks. So she assured me if I got some black, then, which I have, I could make myself a pair of socks with the remaining. So I got some flamingo legs, and I recently bought some Knit Pick Stroll fingering in black for my heels and toes, and that's a superwash merino wool and nylon blend. I think it's 75-25 or 75-25. And then while I was also at the show, I met Jessica of Knit Gizmo Makes, and we chat online, and she's gifted the podcast things previously, and it was so lovely to meet her in person. It was just a shame that I didn't get to spend quite enough time with her, darting around, chatting to pretty much everybody that was chatting, made it quite difficult to have one-to-one engagement. But Jessica kindly gifted me a Moomin bag. Thank you, Jessica. She knows how much I love Moomins, and look, I even put my Moomin on there. I have a real big thing for Moomins. I always have. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I have a Moomin tattoo on my leg. And Jessica kindly gifted me a gorgeous Moomin bag, and it's got a beautiful lining of bicycles in there. It's got 250 grams worth of yarn in there, and still plenty enough room. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous bag. Jessica's bags are always very sturdy, they stand up really nice and well, and they are beautiful. They are generally, I think she does them as one of kind bags. They all tend to have different Moomin motifs on. If you do want a Moomin project bag, you should follow Jessica on Instagram, which is Knit Gizmo Makes, or Knit Gizmo, might be Knit Gizmo. It's Knit Gizmo Makes on Etsy, and keep an eye out because she updates and they just fly out of the shop. They're that fabulous. So thank you so much for my bag. I love it. Since being at PomFest, I got back, and the first thing that me and my partner did the next day was go and get some grocery shopping. And as you do, you look at the magazines. I wasn't intending on getting anything, but I saw a new sewing magazine and I couldn't not help myself because the skirt on the front is amazing. It's like a button down, gorgeous skirt with pockets, and it just spelt fab. So I picked up a new sewing magazine, La Maison Victor, and this is apparently the first UK issue that they've ever done. It's got some gorgeous tops in it. It's really nicely presented as well. So this is the top. It's got some beautiful patterns. It's even got things for like headdresses. It's got a few things like flower decoration hand makes for the house, which I think is cute, and a different edition, a nice pocketed evening dress. How amazing is that? I love that. I would wear that. It's stunning. So I couldn't not say no to this, and it has the patterns in. It's got really nicely directed instructions. The instructions are like what you get in a actual pattern envelope. So I like that they're actually detailed, because sometimes some places aren't. It's got some children's patterns, so like these little jogger playtime pants, which look super cute. And then also it has a knitting pattern. This is actually a knitted pattern, and you can get the charts for it as download online. So I really like that as well. But I just love this skirt. I love it. I want this skirt in my life. I want more skirts with pockets. Basically, I couldn't get enough of the skirts with the pockets. Look how gorgeous it is. And of course, she's dead pretty in it. I'm probably never going to look like that. But if you want to make it, make it. Then there's a really sweet baby striped dress, which is really cute. There is also a striped woman's dress, like a tunic dress. All the patterns which come out in like a booklet. Stripy dress. It's even got some man's and boys patterns, so there's like a shirt pattern and there's some chino trousers if you're interested in making those. Also, it's got some chilling out children's corner kind of beanbag and footstool things and decorations. It's just overall a really nice magazine, and it wasn't even too badly priced. It was $5.99, and as I can figure out, this is the summer issue, so it's obviously 4 times a year. But I'm really excited by this, and it is well worth the pennies. So I will be getting this again the next time I see it out. So if you are in Sainsbury's and you spot this, you could always go and pick yourself up a copy. I just spotted it and picked it up for me because I fell in love with it. The next things, when I got back, I realised that one of the quantities of yarn that I purchased was for a top that I didn't have the pattern for, and that I really wanted the book with the pattern in, the entire book, not just the pattern. And I found that Knit Picks were having a 50% off sale on their books, so I got this for £14, and I treated myself to a copy of the Shetland Trader book 2. I've already got book 1, I've had that for a long while, and it has got some beautiful patterns in, all of which I really want to make. But this is the one that I have the yarn for. I bought some silk, merino silk. This is the bolter top. And I bought some merino silk from the Wool Kitchen. I love the lace detail in the top half and the eyelet keyhole detail on the back. And I want to cast that on, so I picked up the whole book because I know that there's cardigans and sweaters in here that I want to make later on in the future. So I picked up that, but then obviously Knit Picks has I think it's £35 and you get free shipping, and that was already half, and I needed some black yarn for my flamingo legs socks, so that threw it just over half of that. And then they also had the new Felici colourways in, and I couldn't resist because there was a few of them that I wanted, so I decided to just, after a yarn show, buy more yarn. So that's what I did, and I picked up 2 of the Punch Bug colourway, which is like kind of a retro-y rainbow. I really like this. I think it's stunning. And I treated myself to 2 skeins of the Knit Picks Felici Mint Chip. I was really gutted last year. There was a colourway that pretty much most people were knitting. Is it a chickadee colourway? And it was like light browns and turquoises and blues, and it was really nice. Anyway, I feel like this is almost just as awesome. I love aqua colours, so I decided to pick myself up 2 skeins of this for future stripy socks, because I can't get enough of the stripy socks. And that was that order. So I feel a bit gluttonous this past month. I've bought tons of yarn from PomFest, and then I buy myself a ton of stuff after PomFest, but it is out of my own budget and I don't spend much money on much other things. So also when I got back from PomFest, I went into the next sale and bought 2 new skirts, one of which I'm wearing today, which is this brown gathered skirt with the deep yoked band and pockets, and I fell in love with it. So much so that I then had a really big long search on the internet to find a knitting pattern that resembles, and I found that Simplicity had it's like the month of sales. This is why all my money is just disappearing. Simplicity had a 50% off on their patterns, and I found this one, which is exactly like it, with the deeper yoke, the pockets, the gathered around the edge, and there's 3 different sizes, and this is 1369. And I want to make some more of these skirts in the future. I then previously, about a month or so ago, bought this for a project bag. So this is like a tie-dyed light cotton, and it's beautiful in like peaches and pinks. It's a bit creased, but it's really stunning. And because I love pink, I decided that I want this in a skirt. So for that pattern I picked up some more today, and I will be putting this in the wash and getting it washed. And so this will be for my first skirt. Ooh, this will go really nice with my windlass top. Ooh. It's like kind of ice creamy pinks, and it's really nice. I fell in love with it. So I got 2 meters. The only thing is, the 2 widths that they get for the fabric, mine was actually in between those. So I got 2 meters, but I'm reckoning that I'll probably go over. So I won't make a project bag just yet out of this, because I might need this as spare. Maybe for the waistband or something. So yeah. If not, I can always make the slightly shorter version of skirt. It doesn't have to be the long version. I got 2 meters for that. And I'm hopefully going to start sewing that next week, so I need to get an invisible zipper as well. Next week, my mister, for one of the days, is working, and then in the evening is visiting a friend for his birthday. So I will have like the whole day and evening and next morning to myself, so I'm hoping I might be able to trace that up, get it cut out with my fabric, and maybe start even sewing it, so that could be quite exciting. So yeah, that's all I think I have to chat to you about this week. I have just blabbed at you for the past maybe 20 minutes about things that I've bought. Anyway, I hope you don't mind that, because I love buying things. I know some people say that they don't like to watch what people buy, but I really do. I like to see what people have bought, and I love buying things too. I don't have a hell of a lot of money each month. I actually pay a hell of a lot of money out on bills and food money, and I budget really well for everything. Even my own money I budget for. But I do buy for things that I know I need in my crafting, which is why I have ample of it. PomFest, I actually saved up all of last month. I'd actually worked extra to get a little bit of extra money for PomFest, but I pretty much saved last month's money completely. I barely spent anything. I may have spent about £50 that entire month. just so I could take that entire wage to PomFest and buy the things that I know I really wanted. And then this month, because I worked extra again, I was able to take a little bit out of this month's pay to also take to PomFest. So I may have had a lot of money to spend on yarn while I was there, and it may have looked like I really just spent loads, but I'd saved for that and I worked hard for that, and I will take joy in sharing and showing off that as well. I'm not sorry at all. It was like Christmas for me. Some people get like knitting gifts like yarn and books and things like that. I sometimes get books, but definitely not yarn. People don't buy me yarn, which in some way I could probably be grateful for, because they don't always understand what kind of yarn you're wanting, wool wise. But I can buy myself yarn. So July was my Christmas and I spent money at PomFest and enjoyed myself. And I came back, and the remainder of my month's pennies I treat myself to some other things as well, so that I can get making and creating in the way that I enjoy doing so. Anyway, that is me blabbering on about how unguilty I feel about what I have spent and justifying what I have spent. Anyway, thank you for coming by and spending some time with me. It's been lovely to chat with you all, and it is nice to be back. I will hopefully be back on more of a regular schedule, since there is nothing really stopping me now. I also wanted to give you a little bit of positive news on my mum before I leave. So my mum had, on the same week of PomFest, she had finished her radiotherapy, and she is now completely finished of treatment. Yay! So, and she's doing great. We have had the all clear from her is it CGI? Where they do the scans. She's had all clear, and I think her next scan now is in December. But yes, she's had her radiotherapy, and now she's going for like therapy treatments that are less invasive and more for relaxing. So she's enjoying things like massages and spa treatments. So she's thrilled, I think, that all of this is kind of finally, the treatment side is over and done with. Her hair is growing and it is looking fabulous, and it's just so nice to see her happy again and being my mum. We actually went out after PomFest last weekend. We went, which is why I didn't record, we went out shopping together and went for coffee and cake and chatted at the coffee shop, and it was kind of like how things were last year before we found out about it all, and it was just really nice to feel like things were slightly back to normality. Felt like I could breathe again. So it's been really lovely to have those treatments finally over and done with. And that was also another good way for me to celebrate my week, was by going to PomFest. So it was a good week. Anyway, I now need a drink because my mouth is dry and parched, and I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna see you guys soon. But I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. I hope you join in on the knit-along, the Shorty Socks Cal, and if you're not going to, then please do join in on the brioche knit-along that we will be having at the 15th of August. Have a lovely weekend. Catch up with you soon. Bye!